Hello and welcome to another round of HughesRound. It is Tuesday, the 8th of June 2021. It's just me and John Barleycorn here right now. Hello, John. How you doing, mate? Yes, obviously my time has been jumping around kind of a little bit erratically over the last few days because I had half term. Then I had an inset day yesterday. And in fact, one of my regular viewers, Marchin, he said that I should consider going at 10 o'clock more usually because then I can swear more. There's nothing to stop me swearing right now except for the fact that I did actually say I wouldn't swear on the daytime show. So we'll have a discussion about this maybe afterwards on the Discord server, and you can tell me, John Barleycorn. We've got some other people now. We've got Cowban, hello. We've got Graham, hello Graham. We've got Vincent, John again, and EU Sausage War. We've got Stanley Beckett and Mindus, and we've got Yurosh, hello. Graham is early. Hi. Well, no, Graham's on time for once. and as I'd just like to explain, once again, a wizard is never late, nor is he early. He always arrives exactly when he means to, which is a bit like when my podcasts start. It's when I try a few things out and everything works and I can see myself on the monitor. I can see your messages coming up. And guess what, everyone? You can call in today because I've sussed out getting my phone attached to the whole apparatus of the internet, and therefore it's working, unlike a lot of websites that you might have tried to go to this morning, including CNN, Amazon, the government website, gov.uk, which have all been down. And they've been down because of a massive outage of a cloud service that they all use. But the good news is that CNN is back. From what I've just refreshed the page, and it is alive. It's alive, and its main story is widespread internet outage, which is always a bit scary. I thought it would be a great story to do, where an asteroid is coming quite close to the Earth, and we're all a bit concerned about that. So we send some thing up there to stop it from hitting the Earth. Now, actually, nuclear bombs wouldn't be that good, apparently, against asteroids. Now, I've watched a documentary on this on BBC Two, so it must be true. What would be better is something like firing lots of bowling balls at it, and just to get it to gently change course. So the idea is that it just misses the Earth, but it's really, really, really magnetic. I mean, it's the size of Wales, and it's magnetic, and it basically trashes the Earth internet and all technology. And we have to survive without the internet. And I'd like to see in the movie the stories of different people living in different parts of the world and how it affects them differently. Like in most places in Africa, people just get up in the morning and work hard and do what they normally do. Whereas in Europe and America, I'm pretty sure everyone would lose their shit and start eating each other before the first sunset of the first day of no internet. We'll have to see. I'm also quite interesting to know what would have happened as a sort of thought experiment. What would have happened if we had had this pandemic in the 1980s before the internet? Could you imagine? It would be, it'd be a bit of a worry, wouldn't it? I mean, no one would be able to work, would they? Because you had to go into the office. You didn't have a choice to work from home. And it would have been very difficult, wouldn't it? Hi there, says Joe. Hi, Joe. Hi there. How's it going? Joe's working on an animation with me called the Orbiters, which involves two aliens who've been sentenced to lifetime imprisonment orbiting the Earth forever and ever. And yes, it's looking good. It's looking really good. And hopefully it's going to be me and Ben Chambers doing the voices of the aliens. And it's all coming together. It's all coming together. Jan Darian says, hi all. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I explained this because I might have mentioned it in passing, but Ben Chambers, who does the excellent 16 Million Rising podcast every Monday, which is well worth checking out, is the oldest pro-EU podcast on the internet, the first, and therefore the best, obviously. Ben's just moved down the road from me in Durham. So he's moved from Norfolk, where things were normal for Norfolk. He's now living in Durham. He was over last weekend, sharing a beer in the back garden. So we're teaming up and going to give you more stuff that we're doing together. And yes, and on the back of that, I would like to talk to you all later on Discord about times for the show. So obviously we need to sort of put together a summer timetable when I'll be available during the summer to do these shows. I'm not going to be able to do them every day, I don't think. Well, I probably could actually, but I don't want to be moving the times around too much. I like having sort of, it's going to be at 1 o'clock or it's going to be at 10 o'clock. One of the two. Keep you on your toes. Keep you subscribed. But I think it would be a good idea to maybe just go with one and maybe do a few less days, but give more actual time for each show. So maybe do 10 o'clock on Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays is obviously Hughes of the World, and then toss a coin for Friday or Saturday. Let's build a rejoin community in Durham. Yay, let's do it. me, you, and Ben. Parcel of Rogue, FBTP voting system ever stronger in the Tories' favour. Yes, they've redrawn some boundaries, haven't they? Parcel of Rogue, oh yes, government's new electoral boundaries are gerrymandered to deliver the Tories an estimated 10 extra seats. Yeah. Great, isn't it? Good news, everything's working. Bad news, the world ends in 20 minutes. I'll quickly boil an egg or something. So what else? What else has been happening in the world apart from this big outage? Well, the big story this morning was about private health records. So basically your health records, which includes potentially any STIs you've had. It includes if you've been treated for abuse, if you've been treated for drug abuse, if you've been treated for a congenital or a hereditary genetic defect that you might have, that you might not want a company in China or Nigeria or America or Botswana knowing about. You might not want that, but the government's going to take your data and potentially sell it to the highest bidder. And they've made it difficult as to try for you to not sign up to this thing. So originally, and this has just changed in the last 10 minutes, so bear with me, all right? Originally, the deadline was June the 23rd, so that's in 2 weeks and a day. And by then, you had to opt out of not just your GP medical records, but also your non-GP medical records. If you've ever gone to a clinic or had a procedure done or anything like that outside your GPs. So you got 2 medical records. Okay, so the one where it's at your GP, you have to print out a form. Yes, you have to print it out for you and each of your children, right? And you have to fill out the form in a biro, and then you have to walk to the doctors or get the bus to the doctors and hand them into the doctors, where they'll just go, what are these? Because I don't know what's going on, because nobody's been told about this thing. Oh, God, I really want to swear. Yes, indeed. Oh, Bayerberg's there. Hi, Bayerberg. I was just talking about you. In a good way, I swear. Anyway, so you've got to hand that in. That's for your GP records. However, the non-GP records are simultaneously easier, but also harder, because they require you to go online to the government website and opt out if you're over 13. If you have children under the age of 13, you can't digitally opt them out of this. The government want your children's medical data, and they want to sell it to a company, possibly in America, possibly in France, possibly in Papua New Guinea. They don't give a shit. Data is the new oil. Data is where everyone makes their money these days. That's why the wealthiest companies in the world don't deal in oil anymore. They deal in data. And that goes for Apple, it goes for Google, it goes for Facebook, it goes for Twitter, it goes for Amazon. Data, data, data. What do you think your Tesco club cards for? What do you think your Nectar cards for when you go to Sainsbury's? Is that because they're so interested in, helping you get a better shopping experience and giving you some points? No, it's not. They just want your data. They just want to know what you're buying. They want to know what your shopping habits are. And every time you scan your card, it tells you to a central computer exactly what you've bought in what order. That's why whenever I go to the supermarket, all I ever buy are condoms, KY jelly, and a bottle of wine, just to mess with the system. Put that on me, put that on me Nectar card, please. And then here's my real shopping behind it. So data breaches are obviously something that has happened massively around the world. We know about data breaches from Facebook, from Yahoo, from all these different companies have suffered data breaches over the last 25 years. One of the biggest data breaches in the United Kingdom was when TalkTalk was breached. TalkTalk, this crappy company that was headed up by some absolute cockwomble called Dido Harding. Have you ever heard of her? She was heading up TalkTalk at the time of this massive data breach. Guess who's going to be in charge of the NHS? It rhymes with Dido Harding. Yes, that incompetent fucking fuckwit, sorry, not supposed to swear, is going to be put in charge of our NHS. And therefore she'll be in charge of the NHS digital data, which we're apparently supposed to give to them. I haven't got quite through to what you need to do. So, GP, right? There's a super chat. I'll come to it in a minute. GP, you've got to give in a form at your GP. If non-GP records, you've got to go online and type in that you don't want to do it, right? For children under the age of 13, so what you have to do for your kids, is you have to go onto the government website, you have to download a form to fill it out, and you have to post it. Yes, post it through the fucking post, like snail mail. Oh my God, this is actually reality. This is happening. You have to post it through the post to say that you don't want your children's medical records shared with a medical company in Bangladesh. Or even not a medical company. They're not even saying that it's definitely going to be medical companies. Could be a company that makes trainers. Could be a company that makes bloody, novelty sex gifts. We don't know. You don't know. The government don't know yet. They don't know who the highest bidder's going to be. It could be anyone. It could be Elon Musk. In an ironic twist of fate, it could be Bill Gates. And that's your medical data. Something that can be used against you. I mean, it can really be used against you. How would you like to be told that you weren't allowed to go to certain countries because in the past you've had a certain disease? Would you like that? You're HIV positive? Okay, you can't go on holiday to certain countries. And we know you're HIV positive because it was in your freaking medical records that we took without asking. It wasn't an opt-in system, it's an opt-out system, and it's bloody hard to opt out. Great. So, in the last few minutes, just before I came on air, the government have backtracked a little, just fixed it a little. And now they're going to be, the deadline for opting out is now been moved from June the 23rd to September the 1st. But I really strongly recommend that you opt out because they haven't decided what they're going to do with this data yet. What they used to do in the past is anonymize the data. So it didn't have your name on it, didn't have your date of birth on it. They anonymized it and used it for medical research. Which is fair enough. I don't mind my medical records being used for medical research if it's anonymized. And you've got to go to some lengths to anonymize it because if you say, well, it's anonymous, doesn't have people's names on it. Yeah, but if it's got, the area, the GP's area, and it's got the date of birth, bloody doesn't half narrow it down, mate. So no date of birth. Maybe like a band for 55 to 60-year-old. Something like that. That's how you anonymize data. But the government aren't going to do that. They've got no plans to do that. They will have your name. They will have your address. They will have your NHS number. They'll probably have your national insurance number on it as well. Why not, eh? I'm not doing this for some altruistic reasons, for drug research or something. It's not about that. It's about the government making money. It's about the Tories making money out of your data. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. So moving swiftly on, I just wanted to say thank you. Huge thank you to Umka for that €5 super chat. Final sale. British lives for sale. Cheap. Don't lose your chance. Buy, exploit, capitalise. Indeed. That's why I started to blush, says Bayabag. Ooh. it was why your ears were burning. Jeremy Goff, I was on Discord with Andy until silly o'clock this morning. Good chat, but knackered now. That's good though. Getting the community together. Parts of the Rogue, you can write to your MP and ask not to have your medical record sold or shared. You will be identifiable in practice. There's a form. What right do they have to sell our personal medical history? Total out of order, total scum. Yes. They don't have any right at all, but these people, these conservative people in charge of this country are lizards. I know David Icke liked to pretend that the Queen was a lizard. And I think he actually meant that she's actually reptilian and cold-blooded. And if a fly went past her, her sticky tongue would fly out and suck up that little juicy morsel of fly. But that's not how I see these people in government. I mean lizards as in they are cold-hearted reptiles. Not actually reptiles, but effectively reptiles. Egg-laying. Actually aliens. From the movie Aliens. Xenomorphs. That's what they are. Absolute scumbags. Yes, there's nothing we can do about this because they're in government. They have a majority of 80 and they can do what they like. And they're changing the boundaries now. So in the 2024 election or 2023 election, they're going to win again. Because there are so many knobheads out there who think they're doing a good job. Who say, Boris is doing his best. Doing his best to screw us all over, more like. Anyway, so I'm going to just share a link from the Yorkshire Bylines, which is really important. Okay? That's the link you need to opt out of the NHS data sharing. What a sad day. You've done this on purpose. It's NHS. It's NHS digital. NHS, just stamp it all with NHS. How did they get us out the EU? With a bus, with a bloody big lie on the side of it about £350 million to Europe a week, which wasn't even true. But, why don't we spend it on the NHS? And they stamped the NHS logo. They used the NHS logo, which was a breach of copyright, by the way, the slimy little bastards. But sensible people, even the guy who does like man behaving dadly on Facebook, he was taken in by it. He thought, extra money for the NHS. Yes, why are we spending all this money on bendy bananas when we could be spending it on treating children with leukemia? Bloody good argument, that, isn't it? But are we? Is this money come to the NHS? No, it fucking hasn't. Not a penny. In fact, Brexit has cost us more than £350 million a week. In fact, Brexit has cost us more than our entire membership of the EU, and before then the EEC, since 1973. And the government's trying to recoup some of that money. How does it do it? Well, it sells your data. This government's a bunch of bastards. Anyway, so I'm moving on to the strong stuff now. Moving on to my tea. Oh, that's still really hot. Hello, Graham Hughes, says Jim Bob Robob. Buyback says, I work with data, and full disclosure, I worked for Planeteer and NHS in the past. NHS stuff, always 101% GDPR compliant commercial data handlers, depending on the company. I'm sure NHS were, but this isn't the NHS. This is what they did with the track and trace system. So they slapped NHS on the side of a Brexit bus to get people to vote for Brexit. Then they said, it's the NHS track and trace app. It wasn't. It was the Serco track and trace or trace and track or track, trace and test app, whatever the hell it was called. £37 billion allocated to Dido Harding, sorry, hitting that name again, committee of dickheads who couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery. Why a developing nation like Vietnam, where the average wage per day is like something like $2,000 per year is something like $2,000. Yeah, great. Let's have a look. Let's have what's the GDP per capita. I don't like pulling numbers out my head. Just to try to guesstimate GDP. Per capita, Vietnam. I'm going to be well out here, aren't I? It's going to be like 10,000 or something. Oh no, it's 2,715. Oh, wasn't too far out, was I? So that's the average GDP for a person in Vietnam per year. And they have a better track and trace system than we did, than we do, than we have, than we put together. That still hasn't actually worked or done anything. Doing nothing probably would have been more effective. Because then you wouldn't have been checking into places thinking, it's safe to do this. Meanwhile, some wanker was on the BBC this morning who, I looked him up on LinkedIn because I wanted to know if he'd been privately educated or not. And his school wasn't on there. Here's something that you should really, I don't know how many of you use LinkedIn, but one of the fascinating things I find about it is that, generally speaking, if someone went to a posh school, they don't put the posh school onto their LinkedIn profile. I don't know why they don't, but they don't. If they went to a comprehensive school and they've done really well, oh my God, that is totally there. That is all over the shop. It's like, I went to a comp, look, I'm a millionaire. Because there's so few of them. And it's so extraordinary that anyone who goes to a comp becomes a millionaire in this day and age, because if you're not already rich when you're born, you're probably not going to get rich in your lifetime, unless you win the lottery. In which case, you've got, a 1 in 5 chance of losing all your money within a year of winning it. Good luck with that one. But yes, so there you go. Unscrupulous financial advisors. But yeah, so the NHS name has been used by the Brexiteers on Brexit bus, and then it was used by Serco to say, oh, it's an NHS track and trace thing. So it's their money, And now they're saying, oh, this is an NHS, this is NHS digital, this is all NHS. It's not, it's the government. It's the government selling your data to private companies. That's the plan. That's the absolute plan. And they're not even making any kind of bones about it. They're just like, yeah, we're going to sell it to some companies, give us some money. That's great. And that money's not going to be used for you. It's not going to be used for your children's education. It's not going to be used to look after you when you're old and infirm. It's going to go into the pockets of the Tories, because that's what they always fucking do. That's the Tories. Bastards. Every last one of them. Anyway, so moving swiftly on. Medical data. Thank you, Wonka. €5 super chat again. Thank you. Medical data can make your insurance more expensive, certain amount of credit unavailable, and inability to get some jobs. Indeed. Billy Bragg, Take Down the Union Jack, more powerful song than ever. Just all I can say to the good people of Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales, and maybe Cornwall, get out while you can. Just get there. Just run. Just fucking run. Oh, but it's a small country, and small countries can't survive in this world. What? We've just done a freaking trade deal with Norway and gone cock-a-loop about it. Oh, we've got a trade deal with Norway, aren't we amazing? Let's just look up what's the population of Scotland again? Let's get this right. Population of Scotland, 5.4 million. Okay, now let's look at the population of Norway. This is fun, isn't it? You love watching me Google off screen. I know you do. Population of Norway. What's the population of Norway? Oh, it's 5.4 million. Oh, really? So these small countries, they can't exist, even though Norway and Scotland, right, have got the same freaking population. And Norway, until about 100 years ago, was part of Denmark. And they had a referendum. A referendum to leave. I think it was about 99% to go. It alone. Oh, but you're a small country. Oh, how can you ever survive as a small country? You're going to be suckling on the teat of Denmark for the rest of time, they said. Ha 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 ha. Who's laughing now? Denmark. Actually, Denmark's doing all right. But, Norway does have a sovereign wealth fund, which means that everyone in the country is technically a krona millionaire, which is fantastic for them. Not so for, other countries that didn't do the same thing when they found oil in the North Sea, like, I don't know, Great Britain. Anyway, I don't know. But Graham, says Yorosh, consultants need their money. Indeed, they do. They need money like a vampire needs blood. You want to be safe on the internet, remove your photos from social media, set everything to private, and start deleting anything and everything you posted since electricity got invented. Not joking. Yeah, but, baby, when I say I don't want my medical records, like I've got a Wikipedia page. It's got my freaking birthday on it. There's nothing I can do about it now. It's out there. I just think there's certain things that I like to keep to myself. Like, I don't know, my national insurance number, my NHS number, just my bank details. It's just stuff that I don't feel like sharing on the internet with everybody. And yeah, the worry of impersonation and someone else coming along and saying, hey, I'm going to impersonate you and take all your money. It's a little less worrisome for someone like me because I don't really have any money to steal. But, they can have my debt. Jimmy-O, that's fine. It's on you now. You wanted my identity. You can freaking have it. I'll change my name to Danger Hollywood or something. Oh, yeah. John Barleycorn says we should have some fun with GDPR, a campaign to get people to mass mail orders, stopping government from transferring your detail. Hell, let's use them to stop the Tory party sending you campaign messages. They can still send you campaign messages. It's just the way the electoral system works. I'm not going to go into it right now, but people complained about the stuff they were getting from the Brexit Party through the door. If you stand for election in any constituency, you're allowed to send out a mail shot to everyone in that constituency, and it's part subsidised by the Electoral Commission, which is the taxpayer. Inconsequential, which is why you have to pay £500 deposit to stand as an MP, for instance. Inconsequential, we also got a trade deal with Liechtenstein, population of 40,000. I didn't mention that, did I? Yes, and Iceland as well, which has a population of, 800,000, is it? What's the population of Iceland? Population, this is fun, this. Populations of the world. Population of Iceland. I think it's about 800,000. It is. Oh, God, it's half. It's less than half. It's 356,000. God, it's tiny. But, these small countries can't survive on their own. So let me get that right. So Iceland is 3 times 6 is 80. So Iceland is 19 times smaller in terms of population than Scotland. And yet Scotland is too small. It's too small to go it alone. You'll die in the cold. Like I don't know, like a baby Canada. Just don't do it. Don't do it, Scotland. You'll never survive. Meanwhile, Ireland, which broke away from Britain in the 1920s, the Republic did, and it's 100th anniversary, isn't it, of the partition of Ireland, if you want to put it that way. But indeed, that they now have one of the highest GDPs per capita in Europe, actually, if not the world. And I know that's a little bit slanted because of the tech companies that have set up base there, so they don't have to pay any tax, bastards. But we've got Biden on the case. We've got Biden on the case about that, although he's still not doing as much as he should do about refugees and the plight of refugees coming to America. America being a country that historically took in refugees. That's what it historically did. Well, when it was convenient, obviously. Yes. David says, Iceland is cool. I used to buy in Iceland shops in the UK, very cheap. Also, the country is very cool as well. Your data is out there, company's house, domain registers, Wikipedia. It's not about full privacy anymore. You need to make AI work for its money and stop supplying it with fresh info. Well, no, I mean, I'm saying that I don't mind a certain amount of my data being online. I don't mind it being accessible to people. But then there's a point where I think, no, this stuff should not be online. This stuff shouldn't be accessible. I'm very sort of, strict about that. That's why I don't really use social media for any family stuff. I try and just make it all about politics, Ginger Islands, the Odyssey, all the other shit that I do. I try and keep my personal life separate to all that. New show, Graham Googles. Yes, I just sit here and I guess what the answer is of something, and then I just type it into Google. It's going to be a great show. Please watch on Twitch and give me super chats. Super chats are on. By the way, we're halfway through the show, so it's time to say, smash the like button. Smash it. Smash it like you'd like to smash a Tory. Oh, God, that's quite violent, isn't it? Smash a Tory with a smile. A smashing smile. There you go. Turn that around, didn't I? So, mad old man who was yelling at traffic light yesterday has now said that he's going to give up on sports entirely as a result of the cricket board's decision to suspend one of its players for posting offensive tweets 10 years ago or whatever it was. While they investigate it. So he's not going to watch sports anymore. Oh no, what a shame. And meanwhile, a Tory MP has said that people taking the knee as a symbolic gesture to fight for the end of racism is equivalent to doing a Nazi salute in Germany in the 1930s. A Tory MP. And when I say these people are scum, I'm not joking. I'm not just being rhetorical. These people are absolute fucking scum. And they run our country. They're running it into the ground. They are a toxic public health catastrophe. And as a result of them, 150,000 people. 150,000 of my countrymen and women are now dead in the ground. Or cremated, I guess. Ashes in an urn on a mantelpiece somewhere. People's mothers, people's aunties, people's uncles, people's sons, people's daughters, people's brothers and sisters. 150,000. And this government is just continuing with its PR spin and its bullshittery everywhere because it knows that there are so many people out there that are so confused and bewildered by the modern world that they would rather just regress into some little mad fantasy world in which the outside world doesn't exist and they can just go home to the bin bag of custards, Boris Johnson every night for cuddles, and he'll keep them safe and warm with his custard in a plastic bag. I'm embarrassed to be English, says Duke Vengeance. I've gone past embarrassment. I'm disgusted. I am disgusted to be English. I'm disgusted with myself for being born in this country. Emphasis on the first syllable of that word. Glasgow Kiss, people with influence, using that influence to raise awareness of societal problems, obvious fascism. Yeah, there was a fun little thing that I shared yesterday on Twitter, which was about it was Marx basically saying, the first rule of Marxism or something like that is let me see if I can find it. Man waving at cloud. Oh, there you go. The most important part of my evil plan is to get footballers to kneel before matches. Karl Marx. Indeed, yes, because apparently Black Lives Matter is Marxist, which is okay if you say so, matey. So I've stepped up my campaign against this statue, which you probably don't care about, but there's a statue of a man called Charles William Vane Stewart, who was the second or third Marquis of Londonderry. And this man is an absolute scumbag, and there's a huge statue of him in the middle of Durham, which I'm going to try and get removed. Not because I'm personally offended by this gobshite having a statue erected to him. And I mean, it's a very well done statue. I mean, you got to appreciate the artistry in it. I just think they should be taken down and put in a mine somewhere that is in like a little gap that only a small child can get through. Because this guy was one of the main proponents for keeping child labour going. He was one of the main opponents of the 1842 Mining Act, which would see child labour being outlawed. And he vociferously argued that children as young as 8 years old needed to work down the goddamn mines because they were the only ones small enough to go through the little gaps to get the coal out the ground. He also gave about 20 quid to the Irish Potato Famine Fund. At the time, he was the 10th richest person in the whole of Britain. Meanwhile, he spent £150,000, which is the equivalent of about 13 million, on doing up his house in Ireland during the potato famine. Does this sound familiar to you? Because this guy was a Tory MP as well. Scumbaggery runs in the genes. What do you need to do to become a PPC as a potential parliamentary candidate for the Tory party? Just turn up and say, I went to private school and I'm a scumbag. Oh, you come in, join us. We're all scumbags here. Absolute gobshites, the worst of all possible worlds. Anyway, so there's a C word that explains the Tories very well. Yes, Conservatives. Graham, Tories are a risk of extinction. No, they're not, mate. They're everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere. And as more of these older Tories die and give more money to the Tory party grows in power. And they'll also give a bit of their money to their horrible little grandchildren who are now rich because their grandparents died of COVID, and I'm sure they're very upset about that, but now they're rich, so they're probably a little less upset than they would have been otherwise, and now they're rich, so they're going to be Tories for the rest of their lives now as well. It's quite a clever thing to do, actually, get rid of the old guard and get a whole new generation of Tory voting scumbags who only think of themselves, and you can separate them out by the people who don't want to get a vaccine and don't want to wear a mask and are racist and believe Brexit's a good idea and vote Tory. I mean, they're all the same person. In a Venn diagram, it just is a big freaking circle. Apparently, BLM was started by trained Marxists. What the fuck is a trained Marxist? It's someone who's been trained in Marxism, for God's sake. Anyway, Draconic says, I suppose you had to ask an expert about what taking a Nazi salute is like. Appropriate to consult a Tory. Very good. I like that. Got JD Vero saying, I am European. I feel soiled by my UK passport issuer. That's very... John, yeah, I'm with you, mate. He also says, remove all the imperialist statues. Well, the thing is, with this particular statue, you can see why the gammon would get incensed about a statue of a slaver being taken down, because he enslaved black people, and to a racist, that's a good thing to do. That's a good and honourable thing to do, because these people are scum. But this guy in Durham, there's a statue of him in Durham, actively killed the children of Durham. He tortured them, forced them to work down a black hole for the daylight hours of the winter and dig holes under the ground. Tortured the little bastards. That's what you did. You tortured them, making them work at an age of 8 years old. Little kids running around, climbing up trees, laughing and joking, 8-year-old kids. And he sent them down the mines. And then he said, listen, we can't stop the children going down the mines, because then we will make less money. And we need to make money. That's the most important thing ever in all the world, ever. As at the time, a lot of his contemporaries were saying, actually, it's morally reprehensible that we send British children, or any children, for that matter, down into mines or up chimneys. We need to do something about this. And he said no. And there's a big statue of him. Possibly because he said no, and then therefore he died very, very rich, and his wife commissioned a statue of him on a horse. First rule of Marxist training camp, never talk about Marxist training camp. Marquis of Londonderry sounds like a modern day Tory. Yes, indeed. Bayer, looks like I need to explain how tools like Cambridge Analytica work. You don't need to post much. Your family, mates, and people posting about you will rat you out without even knowing about it. 1984 is here. Yeah, but again, I don't really care about... Look, my mates aren't going to rat out my medical records. They're not. They don't know. They don't know my medical history. My doctor does. My GP does. Because he or she's got access to my medical data. But my mates don't. And as to where I've gone on holiday, when I'm traveling, obviously I post a lot when I'm traveling. But if I go on holiday for a week, you don't find out about it until I'm back. Because I don't post about it. I don't tell anyone, hey, the house is empty. Please, come, take my things. Which is never a good idea. It seems the Boris yacht may fall foul of WTO rules and put out to tender. Yes, Graham Haller, that's very true. So they could end up being built by a foreign shipyard. Yes, so it's not WTO rules. Funnily enough, it's the rules I was talking about yesterday, the government procurement agreement, which says that you can't discriminate against foreign companies tendering for the same job. And it's usually big infrastructure projects like ports and railways and roads and things like that, flyovers. It can include building a royal yacht, it's not even a royal yacht, is it? It's just a big boat to travel around the world and do trade deals with or something. I don't know. I haven't really thought this through. Like I said the other day, Boris Johnson's just mad little Father Jack in the corner without the charisma, who just barks at people. Boat, bridge, helter-skelter, cable car. And he just throws public money and spaffs it up the wall using his own term. And when it comes to British businesses that are now struggling, failing, going bankrupt, he famously said, fuck business. That is a quote. That is a quote of our Prime Minister. So next time you meet someone who votes Tory and who's lost their business or their job, just say to them, hey, fuck business. In fact, should I make a mug? I've forgotten to bring down my bloody Wangland mug again. Should I make a mug that says fuck business on it? You can buy it in the merchandise under here. I'll do that this afternoon. And you can send it to your mates. It'll have Boris Johnson on it with a little speech bubble saying fuck business. And a thumbs up. And and you can buy that for the Brexiteer in your life that voted for Brexit, voted for Boris Johnson and his gang of scumbags. And now has no job and now has no business because our exports to Europe have completely dried up because it turns out we don't actually make that much stuff that can't be made somewhere else in the world cheaper. Funny that. Alexandra, the asset's junk. My disappointment is as measurable as the fury that consumes my soul. Yes, very good, Duke. I agree. Files, you have post metadata. You don't need to say where you are. Your phone is screaming that kind of data for you. Google exit. Yes, I know. But that is not telling them what's going on in my body right now, what medication I'm on, is it? Come on. I'm making a specific thing. You sound like you're saying that don't worry about the medical stuff because it's all out there anyway. It's not. It's not out there. People don't have access to my medical records. They might know where I went on holiday 20 years ago. They don't know my medical records. I don't want that information in the public domain. Thank you very much. I don't care about gadgets knowing where I am from one day to the next because I'm at home and I've been home for the last year or so. Roger King, is the Boris boat going to be any use for landlocked countries? Well, there's about 50 landlocked countries in the world. Is it 50? Is it that many? I don't know. There's quite a few. And there's 50 island nations as well. It'd be useful for going to places like Nauru, to Tuvalu, to Kiribati, critically endangered countries where the food is running out and the ocean is rising and the fish are dying and the coral is all getting bleached. Half of all the coral in the world that was there when I was born is now dead. Half of it. Half of the Great Barrier Reef is dead. Dead. So what we need is a massive yacht, which is completely pointless, which basically burns a load of diesel fuel. Well, not even diesel. Gulch, is that what it's called? Crude oil. It burns crude oil. They get crude oil, they spin it, they fract it on board, and then they burn it. The dirtiest oil you can possibly get your hands on. And that's what they're going to burn. That's what they burn on all the cruise ships. That's what they burn on all the cargo ships. That's what they burn on this big boat that they're building. And they'll go and have a meeting with someone from Liechtenstein. They'll have to fly from Liechtenstein because it's a double landlocked country like Uzbekistan. And they'll have to fly to somewhere. And then they'll meet up at the port, maybe Monaco. And then they'll go out in the yacht, burn a load of oil, and for a meeting that they could have had over Zoom. Boris is an evil, horrible man. There should be a protest around at Westminster every day. I don't know why it's not happening. Well, there is a protest around at Westminster every day. There's Steve Bray is there, the indomitable Steve Bray is there protesting every day, and we're going to have a protest on the from the 23rd to the 27th of June around the country, and there'll be more information about that in the coming week or so once I get my arse into gear and find out what's happening. Ernie Burns, the right wing don't have any arguments, only tactics. They don't have honest debates because they can't win them. They care about power and suppressing their opponents alone, hence their constant BS. Indeed. Steve says they will designate it as a military ship to avoid GPA rules. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. That's probably what they'll do. Thanks, Steve. The NHS files, the truth is in there. That's from Draconic. Any Band says the Boris dinghy is going to end up outside of Tesco, 50p a ride. Indeed. Nick says you're back. I am. I've missed these. What's your future plan so I don't miss them? Well, we're going to discuss it, Nick, in the show after this. The after show, the Discord server. So, like in a gig, the band go. There's an after show. Sometimes the band's there, sometimes they're not. It's a bit like that. So you want to go to the after party, you got to head over to the Discord server, and I will give the link at the end of the show, which isn't that far off, actually, because it's 1:45 now. Baybeck says, detailed medical data, that's safe for now. Thank you. That's what I was talking about. Circumstantial medical data, not so much. You shared info about your family's health, you have location services turned on your phone, or AI will connect to this. Yes, I mean, the sort of stuff that I put out there is stuff that I'm comfortable being in the public domain. So I made that decision in my head. And if I'm not comfortable with something being in the public domain, it doesn't get mentioned, doesn't get put online. NHMS, not Her Majesty's Stinker. Yes, indeed. Ernie Burns says the right wing don't have any arguments, only tactics. They don't have any honest debates because they can't win them. They care about power and suppressing their opponents alone, hence the constant BS. I think I already read that one, but it's worth reading again. Who is ready for Steve Bray's demos UK-wide, 21st of June onwards. Manchester on the 25th. Just ordered my flags, 1,000 stickers, umbrella, bollocks to Brexit. That's from JD Farrow. Yes, let's do that very much. Put it this way, don't come to Warsaw. Boris, well, I would like him to go somewhere where he gets eggs thrown at him. That always makes me happy. Or where he gets booed out of town, or where a woman comes over to him and tells him to piss off. Little old lady. I love it when little old ladies swear. Oi, piss off, you bastard. It's always good. Come to Liverpool, Boris. And we'll do to you what we once did to Oswald Mosley, your forebear. Baybags, really intelligent nerds work on this stuff. Aya does the heavy lifting. It's scary accurate. This could be really scary. Yeah, well. Don't tempt me, Graham. Don't tempt me, Frodo. Defo up for the egging, flowering, milkshaking. My milkshake brings all the forages to the yard. And do you know what? On the day that he got milkshaked 2 years ago in Newcastle, I was actually in Newcastle with a milkshake, and I think that I found out that he was going to be there on the train back to Durham, and I was like walking through down the road where he got milkshake. I was walking down that road with a milkshake, literally probably 45 minutes before he actually got milkshaked. It would have been brilliant if that guy had milkshaked him, and then as he was like off to the side of the road going, "Oh, I've been milkshaked," another one went, just hit him in his stupid bollock face. RC says Tories no longer have voters, they have lackeys who will always do their Tory masters bidding. Yeah, that's true, isn't it? It's so subservient. It's like a BDSM kind of master dom submissive kind of relationship, isn't it? We're just a nation full of little submissive beaters, the beaten down beaters. That's what we should call them, because people don't like being called poor, and they don't admit to being poor. But if you say, but you do really do get down on your knees and grovel and tug the old forelocks and doff the cap whenever a Tory walks past. So I'm guessing that you're a little bit subservient, aren't you? It's a bit pathetic, but there you go. Each to their own. Subservient bootlickers. Yeah, indeed. I mean, I guess that might be fun in some circles, but it's not fun when it comes to politics. This is why we should leave the bedroom out of politics, and we should leave politics out of the bedroom. That's my line. I'm sticking to it. So anyway, I've only got 10 minutes left. Bloody hell, that hour has flown. It's flown. I tell you, it's flown. But I can't stay on until 3 o'clock today because I do have to go and pick the kids up from school. Nick, we'll try and join you on Discord, but I have tonsillitis, so I'll be mostly on mute. That's fine, Nick. If you go into the video chat, you can just type stuff. So it's just like this, really. Except there's more people talking at once, which is always good. Right, so now they've got my phone working, and Charlie doesn't call. He called when the phone wasn't working. But yeah, if you do want to have a quick chat before I not log off today, get onto the stereo app and say hello. I nearly played Lou Reed then, which wouldn't have been a good thing to play on the internet because I would have got done for copyright. You little copyright tyke, you, Graham. Rejoin EU. Indeed, let's just do it. COVID times are strange. I voted in a drive-through yesterday. That is kind of weird, but I like it. Sounds like something out of Eyes Wide Shut. We talking about the Tories and the bootlicking. Yeah, it does a bit, doesn't it? Not one of Stanley's best, that one, I don't think. I mean, I might be wrong, but yeah, never really did it for me. Just kidding. Hope it's not too What? Not just like the voters I see. Most of their MPs sycophants, indeed. People should have more respect for themselves. They should, Duke. They should have some bloody respect for themselves. That's what we should say, when people go, "Oh, respect kids these days don't have any respect." Yeah, old people don't have any respect for themselves. Hashtag not all old people. Although I feel a bit like, hang on. You know when an old person goes, young people today, they never ever qualify it by saying, well, not all young people. Not all young people. Some of them are very polite and gracious. You never hear that. You just hear the bullshit that they want you to hear. Because they're kids today are killing less people, raping less people. They are stealing less stuff. They are taking less drugs. They are drinking less alcohol. They are generally vandalizing things less. They're stabbing each other less. They are doing less crime than ever before. They're more motivated. They're more intellectual. More of them go to university than ever before. And more of them can read and write than ever before. And hardly any of them leave school at the age of 14 and then wear it as a badge of honor for the rest of their lives. Jesus Christ, like, that is so weird, isn't it? That anti-intellectualism that just seeps through the psyche of that entire generation, the baby boomers. Sorry, I'm going to have a go at baby boomers. Hashtag, not all baby boomers. Some of them are sound, some of them are awesome, some of them are watching this, and I love you very much. However, there are some, not all, but some, who are total gobshites, and they often have a go at young people and trying to make young people's lives as miserable as humanly possible. And when you point this out, they go, "Oh, you can't know more. You're being ageist." It's like, well, I think that actually destroying children's futures is a little bit more ageist if you think about it, because you've already had your life, whereas they're starting out, and we're going to have to spend the next 10, 20 years fighting this absolute nonsense. So, I mean, when we get back into power. So it's probably going to take 10 years for the Progressive Alliance to actually get anywhere. And then it's going to take another 10 years to sort all the shit out, the mess that the Tories are going to leave this country in. Great. How long till we start campaigning to split the Merseyside to Hull and half of all England north of the line as the European Union, the Republic of Northumbria, bollocks to Westminster? I don't know, mate, because that's going to take in Hull, and they voted to leave. So it'll also take in, if you go straight from Liverpool, straight east, it'll also take in Sheffield, and they voted to leave. I'll also take in Sunderland, and they voted to leave, and Hartlepool. Don't know if I want them. Blackpool. I don't know if I want them. I'd rather Liverpool become a city-state. Scotland become independent. Liverpool become a city-state. Everyone else you can just work it out. First rule of Marxism, don't go to Basildon. You'll never find a more wretched hive of Tory scum and villainy. Says Wayne Maker and also Obi-Wan Kenobi. Good point, Wayne. Wayne got name dropped this morning. I think, was it this morning or yesterday on James O'Brien's show, where you quite you pointed out to him. Oh, it was yesterday, wasn't it, when he was talking about that cricketer who texted a bunch of horrible things wrote a bunch of horrible tweets years ago, and he said, "Oh, but you're kind of being nice to him because there's probably some shady things in your past that you're not too proud about." So yes. Yeah. So Draconic says, I had an old guy tell me how messy young people were these days while I was litter picking. A couple of months back, I found the 3 times bag colostomy bags under a bush. Boris is a twat. Thank you, David. Ginger says, am I a baby boomer? Some people say yes and some people say no. I was born in November 1963. Did you kill JFK? I don't think you did, but you are on the cusp, I think, because the baby boom is supposed to be just post-war, because they had the post-war baby boom. So anyone born in the 50s is definitely a baby boomer. And then it moves on to Generation X sometime around the 60s. So I think it's more based on your attitude. Are you an absolute gobshite? No, you're probably Generation X then. I regard myself as a millennial, even though I was born in 1979, which is on the cusp between the Generation Xers and the millennials. Actually, they usually say 1980 for millennials, but I feel like I'm the first of the millennials because of the way that I've lived my life, the music I listen to, the movies I like, and just the way I do things. It's more millennial kind of thing than Generation X, just generally speaking. And I really hate the 80s. Really hate the 80s. Whereas a lot of Generation Xers actually love the 80s. They were great. They were amazing. It was a great time for music and fashion and art and everything. And I think it was a bit shit. Anyway, so Tim Ballon, the cricketer, had changed his way and had a brain. He will foster. What? my messages just jumped. And so I went to the next line and it said foster. What he would do is foster some some kids from different ethnicities, and then he'll show the world that he's actually a nice guy. No, he would have cleansed his Twitter account like the second one today. Like the second one today. Yeah, I mean, or you just delete it, I guess. Does that get rid of all your old tweets if you delete your account? Does it say that account doesn't exist? Fuzzy Fuzz 2000 Fuzco says Paul Given was nominated to replace Arlene Foster. I don't know who that is, but I thought you might like to know. I'm an OG millennial, 81. Yeah, you are. But I'm saying 79 because I'm millennial prime. You can be the OG. I'm millennial prime. It's just the end of it because I invented it. Everyone, they all come around to my way of thinking eventually. It's these people visiting all these countries around the world without flying. Imitation. It's the most serious form of flattery. Carl says, if you search generation on Wikipedia, you can find out which one you are quite easily. I'm Generation Old Fart, says Glasgow Kiss. Generation X, 1972. Yeah, that's definitely in the X's. But there's some Generation X stuff quite like Nirvana and Soundgarden and Pearl Jam and the whole Seattle scene of the early 90s, which was a bit Generation X, wasn't it? You don't talk about it much, though. What? Now 100. I'm not sure if my mum is a baby boomer. She was born in 1944. She says she is, but she doesn't have a stereotypical attitude. Very socialist. I don't think she really is. Now, that would be the quiet generation, wouldn't it? Was it the quiet generation that were born sort of into war towards the end of... So she's on the cusp. Between the wars. 1991, says Duke Vengeance. Oh, you little whippersnapper. March 63 makes me near death. Well, yeah, unfortunately, you are nearer death than you are being born. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. You've got a lot of experience. You've got a lot of things that you've done, and you've learned from them, I hope, if you're not a lunatic. The silent generation, yeah. So it was the greatest generation, and then it was the silent generation, then it was the baby boomers, then it was Generation X, then the millennials, and now the new generation, which they're trying to call Generation Z, maybe, but they haven't quite decided on what they're going to actually call them. Generation Internet or something like that, but which I don't like. I think they should be a Generation F, and the F stands for fucked. Sorry, kids. Grandpa's messed up the world for you and left it for you to clear up the mess. The amount of plastic in the Pacific Ocean at the moment is, what is it? It's something like the size of Ecuador? Or is it bigger than that? It's the size of Texas. The size of Texas. That's what I read. The size of Texas. Plastic. That's oil that we dug out the ground, made plastics out of, and then dumped in the ocean. Ha ha! Graham, who is more homophobic, Boris or Nigel Farage? I don't know. I think they're probably both quite homophobic, but then they were probably both bullied and possibly abused in private schools that they went to. So, I don't know. But I know that Boris Johnson has a dim view of homosexuals, and he referred to them as tank-topped bum boys, which I don't think Nigel Farage has said. Oh, no, he has. Nigel Farage once made an off-colour joke about Stuart Lubbock, I think it was, who was the lad who died in Michael Barrymore's pool in 1999, I think it was. And he told a joke about it, and it involved a derogatory term for gay people. And so, yeah, they're both homophobic. They're both gobshites. And, I think the world would be a better place without them. Is that a way I can get around, sort of? Because you're not allowed to wish death on people, are you? Gonna say I'm rather looking forward to reading their obituaries. I think that's how Mark Twain got around it. Time to wrap the show. Not to be a remote producer now. All right. Bloody hell, Wayne. It's like 2 o'clock on the dot. It didn't start till 3 minutes after 1. People are giving the super chats here. They've got to give them what they pay for. They pay me and I dance, monkey dance. I've got to do that, obviously. Graham, let's kiss in front of Boris to piss him off. I think that would probably piss Catherine off more than it pissed Boris off, just to be fair. There's more plastic in the Pacific than there is fish. Jesus Christ. That's depressing. Right, okay, so I'm going to head over to Discord now, although I was having horrific problems with my Discord yesterday. I just gave up on it in the end, so sorry for not saying goodbye. It just kept on crashing on me again and again and again, which really sucks. But let's go over there. We're going to talk about a few of the issues that we brought up today in the show, but we'll also talk about the show itself and where you want it to go and what works for you and what works for me and all that kind of stuff. So head over to the Rejoin EU Discord server, which I'm going to give you the link for now. So what you have to do is click on the link, and you can either open this in your browser or you can download the app. And what it is, it's essentially like a bulletin board for us watching this and for me. And we get to sort of share ideas and things like that, but it's got Zoom capability. So effectively we can use it like you use Zoom. We can have a chat, and that's always fun. You know, I like this being a two-way street. What can I say? So RC says yes, 2-hour show, please. Now, not today. I've got, like I said, I've got to pick the kids from school in a bit. So I want to have sort of like half an hour on Discord with you. That's okay. So RC, head over to Discord if you can. You don't have to appear on video. You don't have to turn your mic on. You can just listen in. Daily Blaze says, great show, Graham. Have a lovely day. Oh, thank you. That's really nice. I love it when people say just nice things. Thank you. I think you get around it by saying, I hope they get their just desserts. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Kevin Haggerty. I hope that someone in the future, I don't know, thinks of a really Machiavellian scheme to bring them down. One way or the other. Okay, but RC, well, I'll try and do a 2-hour show next time, maybe tomorrow. But I will return tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Same bat time, same bat channel for another round of HughesRound. Obviously, as always, I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of you for watching, everyone who's given a super chat today. Really, really appreciate it. Keeps me going. Something else that keeps me going is my Patreon support, which is amazing, and I love every one of you. And if you are a Patreon supporter, you will get unlimited access to the Discord server. It won't be capped at any amount of hours. You will be able to use it whenever you want for whatever you want, pretty much. Yes, PMQs tomorrow. Oh, good point, John Barleycorn. I forgot about that. Okay, so let's say 12 o'clock tomorrow. Should we do that? Yeah? Agreed? 12 o'clock tomorrow? Okay, so 12 o'clock tomorrow. Be there for Prime Minister's questions. We're going to go through Prime Minister's questions together. And yes, I'll have a few things to say about it. You see if I don't. So until then, I'm going to leave you with a list of my lovely patrons. And if you do want to become a patron, just head over to patreon.com/thatgingerscouser. And you can become a patron. And that'll be fantastic. Also, there's merchandise to buy below the video. If you want to buy some Wangland merchandise, I'm going to be putting some more stuff on there over the next few weeks. So look out for that. And yes, until tomorrow or a few moments if you're going over to Discord, I will say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.